Hey gang, welcome back to the 78 RPM channel. A few years ago, I posted a video where I went through some of the records in my collection that the label started with the letter A, autograph and stuff like that. And over the course of the years, the one question I have received more than any other question in the comments and just through messaging: when are you going to continue that series? When are you going to start with the letter B? Well, the answer is today on the 78 RPM channel. Hello, and welcome to the 78 RPM channel. Whether you're new to 78s or an advanced collector, this is your source for information, research, and music about 78 RPM records, cylinders, and radio transcriptions. Hey gang, welcome back to the 78 RPM channel. I have been asked so many times when we're going to continue the series that I started. I eventually needed to do it, and so we're going to start what I hope is a slightly more regular walk through my collection alphabetically, and today we're going to work on the B's. And this is actually kind of a problem because there are so many good labels that start with B. If I'm just going to pick 5, I'm going to have to skip a lot of labels. First of all, you have Brunswick and you have Bluebird with the letter B, and both of those could be their own video. In fact, they probably will be eventually. Specifically, Brunswick. You could do one about the Brunswick popular series because there's so much good music in it. But then you could also do an entire video just on the Brunswick Lightning Bolt 7000 series, which we will probably do eventually. And then if you want to get really involved, the ultra rare Brunswick radio transcription series. They're extremely rare, but they're so cool. Eventually we'll be doing a video on that one as well. Let's just say it was tough putting together a top 5, but I've kind of managed to do it, and yeah, we're going to have to skip a lot of labels, and I apologize for that. We'll get to this stuff eventually, but today I really wanted to highlight rare labels that you can keep an eye out for. These are labels, if you ever see them, just get them. I mean, all of these labels, if I see them for 20 bucks, I'm grabbing them. There are a few exceptions in there, which I'll try to note when we get there, but these are labels you have to look out for. The first rare label we're going to go with is the Bluebird label. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can't go through a collection of records of more than about 100 discs and not expect to run into Bluebird records. We're going to run into the same issue here in a few minutes with Brunswick. But what you don't find are these. This is the early black and blue Bluebird label. Bluebird is a subsidiary of Victor, and for whatever reason, they decided they were going to start a new record line in the middle of the Depression. Granted, it was a budget label, but there were a lot of budget labels that popped up there during the Depression, and most of them crashed and burned pretty hard. Bluebird did pretty well. Now, according to the records, according to some documentation, Bluebirds, the very first ones that had this label variety on them, they were 8-inch discs with the black and blue label variety. Here's the problem. I've never seen one. I have queried a lot of very highly advanced collectors. None of them have ever seen one. Now, I'm sure if they exist, somebody out there has one, but I would like to have proof. I have had countless examples of people saying, yeah, I know that so-and-so has one, and I will contact so-and-so, and they're like, nope, I don't have one, and I don't know anybody who does. So if anybody has the 8-inch version of a Bluebird with this label on it, get a hold of me. Now, I know they also did Electrodisc at the same time. Those were also 8-inch records, and apparently the Electrodisc and the Bluebird were supposed to be identical other than the label. I've seen a lot of Electrodisc 8-inch discs. I've probably seen 50 or more, which, yeah, I guess that's not a lot. But I've seen several, dozens. I've never seen a single copy of the Bluebird 8-inch. What they did do after they did these mythical 8-inch Bluebirds, or maybe instead of them, was doing these 10-inch Bluebirds with the black and blue label. If you ever see the black and blue label on a Bluebird, pick it up. This one came out of a junk shop in Waller, Texas at the end of a very long junking day, and I can guarantee you I was thrilled to see it. This record is Johnny Lee and his Palm Beachers, which is actually a pseudonym for Tom Berwick and his orchestra. It should be noted that the Tom Berwick version did come out on the regular, the white, buff, and blue Bluebird label. It did come out on that. But if you ever see it on this, pick it up. Actually, if you see it on the other one, pick it up. It's a pretty good tune. We're going to take a listen.
I'm playing with fire. I'm gonna get burned. I know it, but what can I do? I know.
Next up, we're going to look at the Belvedere label. This is Handy's Memphis Blues Band. Now, Belvedere was a small label, I need to get this right, manufactured by the Hochschild, Cone and Company out of Baltimore, Maryland. Now, they issued a record in 1921, but it was a private pressing that celebrated the 24th anniversary of the opening of their store. Why you celebrate the 24th anniversary, I don't know. You got the 25th right around the corner. That, however, did not have the Belvedere logo at the top. It was technically not a Belvedere disc. It actually kind of looked like this one. But a year later, they started producing Belvedere discs like this one. And as I mentioned, W.C. Handy and his blues band is one of the highlights that came out on this label. This was also issued on Paramount as well as a couple of other labels that were scarce regional labels. But anytime you see a disc on this label, pick it up. Next up, we're going to do a record on the Brunswick label, and I know what you're thinking. If you pick up a stack of records that's more than about 20 discs, there's probably going to be a Brunswick record in it. That's okay. There are some things you need to keep an eye out for, and one of them is this lightning bolt version of the label. And this was used on two different series. It's what's called the 100 series, which were mostly, for lack of a better term, they were hillbilly/country records. But if you see the Brunswick lightning bolt label and it's on a 7000 series Brunswick, pick it up. Even if you don't want it, I promise you somebody does. Most of the records on this label series are very scarce, if not outright rare. This one features a gentleman by the name of Sam Faird, or as he is credited on the label, Lovin' Sam from Down in Bam. This is a great record. It's rare, it's cool, it's a little expensive. It's also called Ugly Child.
She say the clothes you wear all in the latest style, but you look like a mule every time you smile. She says, how I hate you, you alligator bait you the ugliest thing I ever saw. She said you're bow-legged, knock-kneed, and pigeon-toed too. Look like the cuss your whole family must have fell on you. She said your hair is sappy. Who in the world is your pappy? She says you one ugly child on me.
Next up, it's another ultra rare record on a label that, if you ever see it, just get it, ask questions later. If you find it in a dollar bin, grab it. If you find it in a $5 bin, grab it. If you find it in a $100 bin, grab it anyway. It is on the Blu-Disc label. Now, blue discs are called Blu-Disc because, believe it or not, you can't really tell in this light, but these are actually a dark blue shellac. And I'm not talking blue like you see on the Columbia Royal Blues. These are really, really dark blue. You kind of have to hold them up under a bright light in order to see that these are dark blue. But I will tell you this, all of these records are rare. There are only 9 known issues that were released on Blu-Disc. All of them are desirable, even if it's something that seems relatively innocuous, like the Blu-Disc Orchestra. Turns out there's some pretty decent dance band music on it. Take a listen. Last but not least, in the B section of my collection is this. Another great label you need to keep your eye out for. It is the Buddy label. Now, this is probably fairly obviously a Jeanette company label, but around the edge you see a bunch of company names. These were companies that produced aluminum goods. These companies had come together to produce an aluminum portable phonograph. And when you purchased an aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you're from, phonograph from one of these companies, one of two things happens, and we're not quite sure. Either A, you could have purchased records on the Buddy label, or you would have been given records on the Buddy label. Apparently there's evidence to support one, the other, or both. Suffice it to say that these companies that are listed around the edge had something to do with the production of this label, and it centered around the aluminum portable phonographs they were making. Either way, what you're going to find is that these Buddy records are very scarce. Now, just because they're scarce doesn't mean they're valuable. They released a lot more of these Buddy records than they did the black and blue Bluebirds, and they also released some stuff that's not super great. There is a Vernon Dalhart record on the Buddy label that, I mean, it's rare, but if you find it, in spite of the rarity, it's probably not going to cost you more than 30 bucks. In fact, I didn't see any online that had sold for more than $30. I guarantee you those sold to people who were collecting the label, not who were listening to Vernon Dalhart records. But there is some really, really good stuff on there if you find the right records. This record was my best find of 2022. This came out of a basement in Kentucky, and this is Duke Ellington and his orchestra, a very young Duke Ellington. In addition to being on the Buddy label, unlike a lot of the other Buddy records, this one was only issued on one other label, and that was Jeanette. Some of the others were issued on a whole handful of other labels, so there are a lot of places you could still get the same music. This one, you either have to find the Jeanette or you have to find the ultra rare Buddy.
You love, don't cry when he's gone. If you can't keep your daddy down, don't carry on. What I want you girls to know, a little back I'm known. It takes more than a radio to keep your daddy home.
That's going to wrap up our quick wander through some of the fun labels in the B section of my collection. And I know what the next question is going to be. Why did you not show us a Black Patty? I'll tell you, because in my years of digging for records, I've never junked a Black Patty record. I've never found one in a basement or an attic or a garage or a trunk or a crate. And I'm sure as heck not about to pay for one. So one of these days I'll either find one or I won't. But I promise you there are plenty of other great records on labels that start with B. Keep in mind, we didn't even talk about Banner or Broadway or Black Swan. So many great labels we didn't even touch. We'll get to those eventually. In the meantime, thanks for joining us today on the 78 RPM channel. We will see you next time.